Today's video started as a simple gold versus silver comparison. I saw a comment on one of the premieres saying that silver is classier than gold and that gold can make things look tacky, and what surprised me was how many people agreed, including myself. So I thought, instead of just having an opinion on it, let's test it properly. Same mould, same placement, same background, same finish. The only thing that changes is the colour of the metal. If gold really is tacky, it should look tacky under identical conditions, and if silver really is classier, then it should win fairly. So I'm starting off with placing the foil directly into the mould so that it cures fully encased. As I found out in this video, metallic can look very different depending on whether it's raised and messy or whether it's flush to the mould. I've also found that placement and the amount of foil you're using makes a difference. Too much turns it into tacky territory, just enough makes it decorative. Rather than using the little foil pieces, I am using foil sheets. And as you can see, I'm using gold foil on the one and silver foil on the other. And I'm placing this about halfway. For this base, I'm trying to keep it completely neutral. No shimmer, no sparkle, just plain dark opaque pigment paste. I've mixed up 500 ml of resin because each of these coasters take around 120 ml to fill. My thinking was that if one metal looks better than the other, it shouldn't be because the background is helping it. It should stand out on its own. For the second two, my plan was to just use black and white half and half with gold and silver pen detail. I've recently run out of my usual Supreme white pigment paste, so I'm using this white pigment off Temu. Because it had been opened but not been used for a long while, it has like a crust on the top, so I'm making sure that this is fully mixed into. On the lid, this pigment states that it's to help with ocean waves, so I'm sure it has some sort of silicone oil in it, as you'll see a bit later on in the video when I pour it, as it creates cells. You can also see that I am thoroughly mixing this up, wiping my stick on several occasions. Especially the white, because uneven pigment instantly cheapens a finish, I find. White can be really unforgiving if it's streaky or undermixed. It really does show. I'm pouring the black opaque resin over the foil so that it cures fully smooth. With the second two, I'm pouring half and half, trying to keep that central line as best as I can. And honestly, at this stage, I thought it was going to be straightforward. Gold versus silver, classic versus modern. Simple video. And this is where it starts to go wrong. As you can see, they got these cells forming in the white resin. So because I'm known for not leaving things alone, I did try to mix this in with my stirring stick. After popping some bubbles with my long nose lighter, I then left them to fully cure. And straight away, when I seen them, something felt really off. The surface wasn't glossy, it looked dull. Not terrible, but not right. Now, in all fairness, these have had their use. But unfortunately, moulds don't last forever, and these moulds had lost their glossy surface. And when that happens, your pieces come out looking flat, no matter how good your resin is. Exactly like these pieces. But actually, it wasn't just the gloss. When I looked at this batch properly, the foil felt like way too much. It was too heavy, slightly raised, and way too busy. And the white wasn't mixed well enough either. For some reason, there were tiny little streaks and spots where the pigment hadn't fully blended. And instantly, that cheapens the piece. But seriously, if you've seen my channel, you'll know that very rarely do my projects go exactly to plan. But I'm not one for scrapping it. Instead, I adjust. So for this particular video, it meant not just redoing one, but redoing all four. In the second lot, I simplified the foil placement, this time keeping it top and bottom instead of heavy halfway. And again, I gave the white a thorough mix, in the hope to get rid of them horrible nasty spots. Because if we're testing whether gold looks tacky, it really does need to be tested under nicer conditions than these. So all of a sudden, this wasn't just about gold versus silver. This was going to create me a bit more work, but it was also going to allow me to show you how to sort out the issue of a dull mould on your piece. Because once it goes dull, you've got two options. One, you throw away the piece and use another mould, Or 2, you refine the surface using sandpaper, and once sanding, give it a top coat. Now I could have just used a different mould for the next 4, but what's the fun in that? Because of the faceted edge on these coasters, it meant that this wasn't just going to be a simple top coat. But as I've said before, I'm not one to give in. I was determined I was going to use these moulds. So this is the second set that I've done, and still there are the odd patch of the unmixed white pigment paste. If there's one takeaway from this video is, I hate that pigment paste for just a normal white. So my plan is to scrap the first 2 white and black ones and keep hold of the other 6. But that meant that all 6 needed prepping, ready for the final top coat. And so far, the second takeaway from this video is that I need to replace these moulds ASAP. So now time to bring these moulds up like new. I'm sanding lightly, starting at a 600 grit, an 800 grit, then 1000. The idea is not to reshape anything, just to refine the surface. This is the part that people don't always see. The bits that are done behind the scenes. But it's the finishing touches like this that separates a craft finish from a more professional one. Because really, at this stage, gold versus silver doesn't even matter if the surface is looking tacky and nothing looks expensive. The aim of the sanding is to create a crosshatch or key the surface. This helps the uncured resin stick to the cured resin a lot better. What I didn't exactly count on was how badly the sanding would remove this foil. But in fact, I think it did me a little bit of a favour because it showed more of the black. And I repeated the process for all 6 coasters. Once I was happy with the sanding, I then give them a wipe with isopropyl alcohol and a baby wipe and then leave them to fully dry. Now we've done the 2 with the foil, but the foil gives texture, metallic pen gives precision, and precision can sometimes feel more high-end than texture. Usually, silver on black feels really sharp, especially in a control line. I think it's more that gold can feel quite rich, but if it's used too much, can quickly turn into tacky. But that's just my opinion. Now, this was the point where I had to decide whether to just do the line down the centre or whether to colour in the faceted edges, and I decided on just the central line. I wanted this to be about gold versus silver, so adding it along a faceted edge would have just made it look too messy, regardless of the colour. Now I can barely draw a straight line, but it managed to look quite good on the gold one. Unfortunately, even though I used a few of my silver pens, it really didn't like going onto this colour. I could see it, but it wasn't showing up on camera very well, because when you tilt it to certain lights, you can tell that there's a metallic pen on there. So I decided to leave that one till last and continue going over that silver line. Now, as I said, because these have a faceted edge, taping them cleanly is going to be really tricky. So on a flat coaster you can just run masking tape straight around the edge, but with angles like this the tape doesn't always sit flush, and if it lifts even slightly the top coat will creep underneath. You've got a few options here, so you can use masking tape, painter's tape. Some people even use electrical tape because it stretches. It's really down to personal preference. So after taping the entire bottoms of all 6, I then go round the edges with a sharp pair of scissors, removing as much of the tape as I possibly can. To remove the last little bits, I'm just using a 240 grit sandpaper just to run all along the edge to make sure that this tape is only along the bottom. So for the sides, I decided on using liquid latex. This gets into all those little angles that the tape can't seal, especially on textured or geometric moulds like this. The only issue with this is that you need to have a really steady hand, and that line needs to be dead straight. The last thing I wanted was the resin to be dripping over the edge and completely ruining all the pieces. Half of resin is the prep work beforehand. Now this was probably the most difficult part of the entire piece. As I said, I had to be really careful to get that dead straight line, because if it's slightly off, it's going to show after I've removed the latex. And the last thing I want is a step all the way around, because even if the rest of it's perfect, your eyes are going to be naturally drawn to that step. You're not even going to notice whether the gold or silver looks better. So I have sped this bit up for you because this did take a while to do all 6, but when it's fully dry it starts to turn clear. This makes you doubt yourself and doubt whether the line is actually there. That's probably the most scary bit. Now this is the bit where the magic happens, and everything should start to look better. So I'm just putting enough resin into the centre of this coaster and allowing it to self-level properly. If it's too thin, it won't level. If it's too thick, you risk pooling. And then using a silicone spatula to push the resin out to the edges. The main issue when top coating is that resin can be quite deceptive at this stage. When it looks like it's covered, it generally isn't. It needs a bit of time to settle, to be evenly distributed. Because, as we know, when resin is curing, it pulls toward the middle. And surface tension draws it back towards the centre. So even if the edges look coated now, in about 10 minutes, they can often look a lot thinner. And that's when you end up with an uneven gloss. Trust me, that's happened to me on more than one occasion. Once I've pushed my resin as far to the sides as I can, and then using a small-ended silicone tool to go right along them flat edges. You can actually see it better on camera than I could myself. To me, that looked like it was fully coated, but you can see all the little dimples forming because there's not enough resin on the piece. After waiting 10-15 minutes, I come back and check, and often I have to add just that little bit more resin. When using your silicone tool, you're not brushing it like paint, you're just guiding it to the edges, allowing it to self-level where the resin wants to be flat. All you need to do is just make sure there's enough resin for it to be able to do that. Wouldn't recommend using heat at this point because that lowers the viscosity of the resin, and potentially that can lead to the surface tension being broken, and once that resin starts spilling, there's no stopping it. There's a little saying in resin never goes where resin's never been. It's a saying that's always stuck with me, and I've heard it so many times over the years. After covering these pieces, I then leave them to fully cure. Now it comes to removing the latex. Now for me, it's like PVA glue as a kid. I absolutely love taking off latex. But take it off too soon and you risk pulling the latex. If you leave it too long, you risk it sticking to the coaster and being difficult to remove. As I said, my main concern was this faceted edge and if the resin had run underneath. Because if that's happened, I've lost that crisp edge altogether. And I don't know if this is just me, but if I notice a messy edge, I just can't unsee it, no matter how nice the piece is. For me personally, getting this right is my payoff. It's what makes all the hard work worth it. It's a psychological fact that your eye reads the outline first, before colour, before detail, before anything else. That's where it gets drawn to, not in the centre, not even in the metallic, but here, right on the edges. So I'm hoping all those little steps, the sanding, the taping, the sealing, they're all going to quietly add up. I mean, yeah, okay, it wouldn't be one of my videos if there wasn't a little bit of creative chaos in there somewhere. That's something I just can't help. That's me, every day of my life. But when it comes to showing the end piece of the video, I like to feel that that's how I expected it to be all along. And yeah, these coasters are far from perfect, but they are now fully glossed. So now it's time to have a good look at these properly. So we had the same mould, same placement, same background. It was only the colour of the metal that changed. So the next question is, does the gold look tacky? Or was it in the execution all along? And has it made a difference doing the half and half versus top and bottom? I think it really has. Stupidly enough, I thought this was going to be a really simple gold versus silver debate. And I honestly thought it would be simple to tell if one looked classy and one looked tacky. Because it's not just about the metal colour, it's about how much you use and whereabouts you put it. When the metallic splits a piece in half, I actually prefer the silver. It feels a bit sharper to me, cleaner, a bit more modern. It makes that divide look intentional, for want of a better word. But these are just my personal opinions. The gold leaf on the top and bottom, the gold works better. That feels warmer, a bit richer, a bit more dramatic, like it's supposed to be there. So maybe gold isn't tacky, maybe it just doesn't like being in the wrong place. Silver is more precise, gold is really bold, and depending on the layout, that completely changes the feel for me. So in the end, this didn't turn out to be gold versus silver, it turned into placement versus perception. And honestly, to me, that's way more interesting. As I said earlier, very rare do my projects go exactly to plan, but rather than throwing it once again, I've just adjusted, and this time adjusting's actually made it better, not worse. So I'm really curious, do you prefer the silver down the middle or the gold framing top and bottom? As for the black and white ones, I actually prefer the gold. Maybe it's because the silver didn't turn out as good or as bright as I wanted it to. And the gold line was really thin, something that I didn't manage to get with the silver one because I had to go over it so many times. So that brings me back to the original question. And if you think gold is still tacky no matter what, then let me know what you think in the comments. I'd really be interested on your thoughts on this. So that's it from me today. I hope this video has been helpful. I've been Tony from Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts. I'll leave you with some glamour photos. Stay safe, happy crafting, and bye for now. Hit that like. Let's craft the day and light the night. Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts, run by Tony, it's true. We're making magic just for you. Pour the resin smooth and slow. Watch it sparkle, watch it flow. Tutorials bright like a morning sun. Stick around, the fun's just begun. One click away.